federal agent. Ruled by a sense of destiny. Machete.
All right, so how do you say this fool's name? Is it Machete or is it Machete or Machete or
Machete?
Yeah, well, you say like a Jew, Machete.
You guys tried to wait. I mean, earlier you guys were trying to really pronounce it like you think a hardcore Mexican like Machete. No,
Yeah.
it's just for you white boys and you blacks, it's machete. For the rest of us, for the rest of us Mexicans, it's machete.
Now, is it nacho or is it nacho?
And Machete is not going to give you too many chances to get it wrong.
Exactly. No.
You really want to be one of those Americans who just talks normally, and then suddenly you just go crazy every time it's a Spanish word. You're like, would you like some of this guacamole?
Yeah. Well, we'll be on the wrong. Well, if you're on the wrong end of his weapon, the only thing will get us ma, and that's it. But
Hey,
man,
is that a
Danny Trejo, man, I love Danny Trejo.
I do too. He's
guy.
one of those
Everybody
great
does.
character actors who's got such a distinctive look. You're always going, man, I'd like to see that guy in more stuff.
I wish he would do more comedies. He's a funny guy.
Don't even say that. He'll be like in Kindergarten Cop 2.
Yeah,
I would not mind that at all.
was
I think that would be fucking hilarious.
That was that really that comedy he was in. Rob Zombie's Halloween. That movie was hilarious.
He was in that. That's right.
You mean this ain't a comedy that we saw right here?
Yeah, you got to admit that was a comedy.
Yeah. In this movie, it is Rob Rodriguez's exaggerated world. And so, do we really need to even explain the plot? I mean, all you need to know is Danny Trejo is a big Mexican with a big knife. Now, if you want to go, if you want to go deeper than that, he is an ex-federale. The movie opens up with him being part of the force. And Steven Seagal comes in and has not only set him up and betrayed him, but, damn, he could have just left it alone. They hurt the man's pride. But he got bringing his wife, cut half her head off.
No, I thought they cut the whole thing off. But
No, I saw like a piece fall on the floor. I'm like, damn, man, you can't give her the dignity of like giving her a clean cut at the neck. I mean,
Or what about just kill the guy, and then you got like the whole rest of the day to do other shit.
that is true. It's just kind of like, why did you even piss him off by doing that?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, because they thought they killed him with that elaborate trap they laid for him. Because villains always make that goddamn mistake. Before I tie you to my shark tank that's connected to the fuse that will be going off in 10 minutes and blow up, which will certainly kill you, I'm going to tell you about some other fucked up shit I did to you to piss you off.
Now, I understand the reason for that, because you think about it, a villain is surrounded by henchmen who are not the sharpest tools in the drawer. I mean, these are high school dropouts and guys who just don't understand what a brilliant thing this guy's put together. The only person who has the brain activity to understand is that hero. And after working months to put a plan together, you got to tell somebody.
Well, look,
Yeah.
these are the same goons that were like the motorcycle guys in the Pee Wee Herman movie. True. First we sue them, then we hang them, then we kill them.
and Machete is like, I say we let him go.
The advantage of this job,
And he's
of
just
course,
kinda like,
is,
what's that?
the advantage of this job, of course, is that you're not going to get I'm sorry, we require a college degree.
Machete is mad as hell, and he's out for revenge. But at the same time, he's socially conscious. He's also getting people to attack this whole thing about immigration, illegal immigrants. He's letting people know, not only are we doing your lawns and we're keeping your kids and we're also painting your houses and the homes and everything, but we kill white people too. So,
that seemed like it was more everyone else's agenda besides his, though, honestly.
Well, he did eventually embrace it, but even so,
But
he
wasn't
wasn't
doing it for
talking shit against it.
No,
I'll just say this. The movie, was the last film I expected to have an agenda, but boy, did it.
oh yeah.
I don't know enough about immigration to really say anything firm, and besides, the Mexican robot's looking at me. But that being said,
hiring them.
I'm pretty sure that the movie's stance of completely open borders is not the correct one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know if it's saying so much completely open borders, but it was saying more like, hey, you can knock it off with the evil shit as far as stopping us from coming over here.
Yeah.
I mean, because the big thing in the movie, other than Machete himself killing everybody, is the huge conspiracy. And you got like 18 villains in this movie.
Damn, they're everywhere.
I mean, you talk about how the Expendables only had one weak villain. Here, you can't even count off the number of villains you got. I mean,
I'm not even sure who the top villain is.
Right.
There's there's points that villains are turning against
they
each
turn
other,
against each other,
and you're like, wait,
back again.
who am I supposed to hate the most
So
here?
I know you got at least Steven Seagal, Jeff Fahey, and Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And you got some top level henchmen in here, some number 2 guys.
We have Steven Seagal, who is controlling political factors in Texas. Now I know this shit.
Yeah, he's a drug kingpin in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm making it sound deeper than what it really is, by the way. So his connection is a senator played by Robert De Niro, who's, heavy anti-immigration. And Robert De Niro's assistant is Jeff Fahey. Now, at the same time, you got to have people controlling the borders. So you got the old redneck hillbilly people who are head up by Don Johnson.
Don Johnson and the vigilante force.
Yeah. and the thing is,
out of all people to get, Don Johnson to represent that.
Well, out of all, by the way, introducing.
Yeah,
Don Johnson.
Introducing.
I laughed my ass off when I saw it. That was not introducing shit.
Well, isn't that part of the whole conceit of the thing? Because people, I think some people don't even realize that this is a tie-in to the Grindhouse films. This evolved out of the trailer that Robert Rodriguez made, for this in between. In fact, I think some of the scenes from this are actually just the stuff he shot for that. But they said, okay, now let's make a movie around those shots that we used.
Well, there's
I don't know how many of them they did.
Well, there's two. We got the one where we see Machete flying on that motorcycle shooting guns, and then we, of course, scene I can't ever forget of him kissing 2 naked chicks in the pool.
Yeah,
and
which I was disappointed on that scene only because they were really stressing that Lindsay Lohan was going to be naked. So I thought that scene that everyone has seen in the trailer they're going to reshoot that to be her, and it wasn't. It was actually the same shot from the Grindhouse.
Yeah, it was.
The whole time I kept thinking okay, where's the tattoo on her that says body double?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. That was a stone cold body double. And then Lindsay Lohan's in the movie, and it's a funny thing because I don't know if this was intentional. I mean, it can't be, but there's a scene where she's almost overdosed on drugs. And this is just is that acting, or did they really pick up at a flop house somewhere?
No, I thought that was a real, I thought there was a documentary going on.
Lindsay's supposed to be on the set and going there wake her ass, so they got Jeff Fahey to come get her ass.
I was like, she is too damn good of an actress right now.
You notice she had bruises and scars all over her arms that were nothing to do with what was going on in the plot. And I'm like, oh wow, that must be real. And sure enough, she apparently was picked up from rehab to go film her scene.
so they were filming it there. That was a real Mexican flop house she was in.
To me, that's sad because it's just trying to titillate the audience and say, hey, look, we got Lindsay Lohan in here and she's making fun of herself for being a drug addict. I'm like, no, y'all are exploiting that.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan, she plays Jeff Fahey's. His name is Jeff, right? Yeah, Jeff Fahey's character. Jeff Fahey's daughter in the movie.
Lindsay Lohan is playing Jeff Fahey, who is playing the character in the film.
Man, might as well be.
It's
all
the
these people in here.
of characters here.
Man,
I need to go deeper into Lindsay.
Well, I wish I could because I was trying to. There is a scene where, that scene where she's trying to kiss Machete in the pool with the mom, and they're all both topless. I mean, they have her head hidden. It's almost like it is very much a body double because that chick ain't showing her face at all. It's almost like she's breaking her neck not to show her face.
And there's not a single freckle on her.
And no, not at all. It is not Lindsay Lohan, but Lindsay Lohan is topless for a little bit, but you really have to fight her hair to see a nipple. I mean, you should have seen me in the movie craning to see that nipple that was trying to peek out. That nipple came out from behind her hair and waved at me peekaboo.
I think I ran up to the screen and tried to part her hair. It was I
was like Moses getting up in the theater trying to part her hair. I want nipple.
And to see where every guy in the audience is trying to use telekinesis to move their hair.
The guys are always bumping their heads. All three of them like the Three Stooges in the theater trying to get around that.
But by then, you see so many hot girls, especially Jessica Alba, who has a fucking incredible shower scene in this movie. I think that's going to be posted. That's going to be posted all over the internet.
It's not actually naked, but because it's still Jessica Alba, she's still saying, "Nope, not going to show you." But it's so close, and it's such a hot scene.
It is.
So you're
fucking
damn.
No, Jessica.
I'll take it.
Jessica Alba's middle name is Cock Tease. I mean, she's showing you just enough, but don't ever want to say it. Not even a little bit of ass crack. I'm not asking for much. I mean, goddamn, people in underwear and in Sears catalog, I can see more than what she shows. Sometimes.
But hey, you know what? She's still goddamn hot. And honestly, in this movie, I thought this is the first time she really tried to act. But this is the first time I noticed she even had a real character.
Well, for me, Michelle Rodriguez, who plays the head of an underground immigration factory, she, which is a takeoff of Shay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just come on, man. That's ridiculous.
I thought the same thing. I was like, come on.
Got your papers? Same as the last time you checked. And the time before that. And the time before that. Got yours? Same as the last time you checked. You think what you do is right? Taking your brothers and sisters in? deporting them back to their own personal hells.
It's the law.
There are many laws.
There sure are. Immigration fraud, aiding in illegal entry, unsanitary food prep. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Can I get my tacos? Who's she? I hear she runs an underground network.
How the hell would I know? I just make tacos and I sell them to the workers of this world. It fills their bellies with something other than hate.
Funny. Sounds like something she would say.
And when you see those Photoshop pictures, that's the best.
Yeah, I've heard like in the jungle and shit.
It's so like they didn't even. It's funny. You're like, wow, you got a whole effects team working for you, but all they did was cut her head and put it on somebody else's body.
Really, I would hardly call that a whole effects team.
In fact,
the effects are pretty bad.
Yeah, in fact, I think they didn't even try that. I think they put her face on Che Guevara. That was it. I'm like, why she got a man's body all of a sudden? But I mean, she's hot in the movie. This is the hottest I've ever seen Michelle Rodriguez.
I have to agree. Not only was the hottest, but like you talk about like the best act. That's the best acting I've seen her do.
Yeah,
she wasn't just that growling, pissed off chick. She actually was, emoting and had some dimension to her character.
I was beginning to wonder,
like, what an odd choice of a movie to finally.
I know, because her character called for her to be that growly chick, and I was like, wow, she's actually trying here more than usual.
She finally wasn't playing that chick from Aliens.
Yeah. I was wondering if she was a dude. I was thinking like she was Dr. Girlfriend or something. She was always growling.
Proved unquestionably she is not a dude in this film.
No, well, I don't know. She didn't pull it all the way
I've
down.
always thought she was hot, but she's one of those, as an actress, annoy me, just shades of back and forth. And this was the one where it's like, okay, she's hot again.
Yeah,
she's
I
up there.
felt the same way.
No, I went home and pleasured myself to this.
We don't need to know that. No one needs to know that.
I'll let you know. Hey,
wait a minute.
We're friends here.
Where? I'm sitting on your bed.
You know when you try to get up. If the closet follows you out the room. And that's the thing about this film is that the people that I'd expected not much from, like Jessica Alba and Michelle Rodriguez, I got more than I expected out of them. I'm not talking about their bodies, I'm talking about acting-wise. But the people that they were touting as these legendary icons, actors, like Robert De Niro, Don Johnson, and who else was in the movie?
Steven Seagal,
especially Steven Seagal. Here's the thing about Robert Rodriguez. A lot of people don't mind Robert Rodriguez because he makes movies that he doesn't care about the story too much or the characters. I'm sure he says he does, but really I think what he cares about most is, do these characters look cool, killing somebody or shooting a gun? And you have all these icons in this movie, and they don't do that much. Robert De Niro pretty much spends most of his time on a monitor or talking to somebody. He doesn't really do that much.
What's the thing? Rodriguez is visually accomplished. I mean, people say he's one of the best people, believe it or not, at lighting in the industry right now. He's supposed to be fantastic at that sort of thing. I mean,
really? Because I felt like a lot of the stuff shot here was flat.
Look at Sin City. It's like, wow, this guy totally understands lighting. If nothing else, if you hate that movie, you got to admit that.
I love Sin City.
That part he nailed. And this film is one of those things where there's lots of cool visual stuff I thought going on at parts, but a lot of it's just set piece ideas. Because the story itself, I mean, it is what they're trying to emulate. It's a 70s bad exploitation film. Yeah. And it's not like, it doesn't feel like they're just being kind of lazy, the way I'd even say with even as much as Piranha 3D, where they're like, whatever. Here they really trying to be like that 70s exploitation film. Those films were bad, and so is this. This story is ridiculous and it's unsatisfying as well in many ways, yet it keeps coming along and doing cool stuff. Those little set pieces that you're like, okay, that was kick ass. You know what I mean? Every time I'd start to get bored, it would win me back with something like Machete rappelling out of a window using a dude's intestines. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, see, I didn't find that all that.
Not only was I not impressed by that, it's just like everything that you're saying is cool. I'm like, well, it was cool when it was in this other movie I saw before, but here it's just like it was a lot of ideas, a lot of stale ideas just kind of strung together, and yet I didn't find myself hating it like I do most of Robert Rodriguez's other movies. But it is like emulating a bad movie, and it's like, well, you win the prize, you did it, you made a bad movie. Here's a cookie. But don't ask me to pay $10 to come see it.
Well, that's my thing. I love all the parts with Danny Trejo. And even when he wasn't doing all that much, I loved him in the movie. I loved his character. I really do. But the bad guys that he goes against, I'm not asking for them to be fully fleshed out characters. I'm not asking for thespians here even. I'm asking just for them to be badass villains and they don't do anything but snarl, talk, spend most of the time talking on a monitor, barking orders at somebody.
I mean,
you know what? Well, the thing is that, the main problem with this film is that you want to root for Machete, but the thing is, to me, watching the film, it seemed like he was almost barely in it. I think this movie had the same problem that Once Upon a Time in Mexico
Yeah.
where they just had way too many bad guys, way too many storylines going on that tried to intertwine towards the end, tried to come together, and just really didn't do that, and had way too many heroes. Like, this movie was too busy. Instead of really, focusing on the Machete character, all of a sudden they would take you and they'd try to, give you some kind of history on this She character, and then they try to give you some background with this Jessica Alba character, and you're following them for a majority of the film, and they just so happen to run into the Machete character, and the thing is that you really don't get any kind of sense of what he's all about.
I guess I was looking for more of a straightforward revenge story.
And that's exactly what the problem with this film was. It didn't really have that focus.
You're going with all those side stories, those characters, and yet none of those stories really come to anything. They're not important in any way in this film. I mean, they should be like, here they are. Wow, aren't you happy to see them?
Yeah.
Here's a little part they get to be in. Now we're done with them. We don't really need as much time with those characters as the film seems to want to spend. Because, like I said, it doesn't pay off.
No, and the only thing that does work in this film is when Machete gets to shine and he gets to kill his victims, and it's like that's the only time when these filmmakers, and Robert Rodriguez isn't the only guy who directed this film. There's another guy who directed with him.
Yeah, a guy named Ethan Maniquai.
I don't know his name, but the thing is, I think he was Robert Rodriguez's cinematographer, but I think he co-directed the film with him. But yeah, the only time that it seemed like this, the only time the story seemed focused is when the action came into play, which, they did a great job of doing all the action sequences, all the way Machete was cutting up people actually put a big smile on my face. And the thing is, I wanted more of that. And I don't mind that they want to, get into the whole political statement about immigration and stuff, but the thing is, I thought that the only problem is they really just banged you over the head with it.
Well, it was distracting and not really all that interesting. I'm pretty left wing and I generally agree, but at the same time, I was like, we get it. This could have been subtext, but instead, it might as well have been the poster for the damn film.
They pushed me so far in the other direction, I went down there to build a wall myself. And I love Mexicans, but I'm like, I don't want any more coming back over here to make another movie like this. I know it's predictable for me to always say that, like, oh, I hate these movies where they don't try, they try to make shit bad on purpose. And Robert Rodriguez just has a whole career of doing it. So every time he does it, I'm like, sorry, dude, I'm not impressed. But I didn't hate this movie because I found it funny. I mean, the fact is, there's a lot of intentional jokes in here, and that's probably what kept me going through the slow parts, through the really shitty effects that were shittier than they should have been, through the CG blood that ruined what could have been cool a lot of times. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? The things that are funny to me, and then it would go to serious. I was like, you know what? This would be so much better if it could make up its mind what it wants to
And that's what I wanted. I don't mind. This could have been a good satire about immigration if it wasn't trying to be so serious in the middle of what is obviously just a big violent cartoon. I mean, the reason people are going to look at me and say, well, you like Piranha 3D better than this? What's the difference? The fish didn't stop and give me a message about the environment.
Stop every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, if they did about
You yourself argue with me that they came because those kids were littering and destroying the environment.
No. That was just their excuse to say that those kids were bad and they deserved to die.
Yeah, that was an excuse.
Corey, don't you sit there.
No.
You didn't have that.
No, I did say that, but you know what? They didn't spend no time on it. They just said, you know what? They're fucking with the water. I'm gonna eat your ass, and that was it.
That was 3 seconds of the film, and it was done.
Yeah, and it's done.
Here it was 15 minutes of it, at least.
And I wouldn't have minded so much, but the movie started out so cool, man. I love the way the movie started out. I was just like, wow, I can't wait to get into this. And then it ends with this big, clumsy climax that's not even really centered around Machete. It's about a revolution, and it doesn't even feel like that. You got about 20 extras out there.
I gotta say, I was like more on the positive than the negative side of the movie, but that climax sucked. The big thing, you're leading up to the big battle.
Yeah.
It's like it's all over the place. People are escaping when they shouldn't. They have a one character turn with a character, then flip it back the other way for no reason. It just went on forever.
Yeah.
And it just felt no consequence to it.
No, I did. Well, the problem with that with that big finale was that I mean, it had probably by far the worst editing job I've ever seen
Yes.
for any kind of big like climactic scene like that. And especially, I mean, this is the problem with having way too many characters and way too many heroes and creating too many heroes, because they just start throwing characters at you from out of the woodwork. I mean, everyone shows up to this big, finale.
And you know why they show up?
There's no reason.
There's a reason, so they can pick up a gun and look cool firing. We
Yeah,
get these girls who show up who they
That's
just look
about
cool, like just sit
Yeah,
up
who
there.
were girls who were in Grindhouse.
Yeah,
It's pretty,
yeah,
their
the-
only real
the
reason they were there.
The babysitter twins show up,
Yeah.
pick up machine guns, start firing away, and then they run off screen.
Yeah,
And
Michelle
that's-
Rodriguez out of
yeah.
nowhere comes out dressed in black leather, and it's just like,
Yeah, no
you know,
explanation. I mean, Daryl
Again.
Lamar, the kid from the Spy Kids movies,
Yeah.
this was probably like the biggest laugh for me was that he shows up in the last 15 minutes of the movie acting like a cholo.
yeah. What did he
A
do?
redhead freckled
Bizarre.
cholo.
What was that about?
Well, I think that was kind of funny.
And you know what?
that he did that.
I'm thinking with
They
all the
even made
people
a
who are
joke
in
with that,
all the
yeah.
people who are in this movie, he must have broken up with Rose McGowan because she's like the only person he's ever met who's not in this film.
No,
You almost expect Johnny Depp's character from Once Upon a Time in
No, no,
just
yeah.
to pop up out of nowhere, just to start killing people.
Oh yeah, no, and I think his ex-wife is still around, so you better not bring that bitch around. You talking the real Machete is his ex-wife.
But you know that's
Based
that's
on a
where
true
this-
story.
That's where this movie suffers, though. I mean, where you want to see Machete really shine, it's like you kind of already seen it because the trailers have already ruined that whole, everything that's supposed to be cool about that character. They've ruined it already in that trailer.
And then we
Seen it
get-
like 20 times. It's like, well, I've seen this shot. It's an incredible shot, but are you going to give me something just as incredible, or is this kind of like, is this the money shot that you spent like years ago?
Well, we also get a character who would have been a funny cameo, or an extended cameo, a glorified cameo, and that's what's her name, Lindsay Lohan, and they try to make her some kind of major figure in the movie at the last minute. I'm
turns
like, no.
around because they've got to throw in another type of exploitation film in there just to say, isn't that funny how we brought this in? And
Yeah,
it's like, well,
focus,
it
man.
would've
all
been-
right?
It might have been funny if the whole film had that attitude. Like we
Yeah.
were saying earlier, if the whole film was non-stop that level of goofiness, and you're like, fuck the serious story, fuck the dramatic parts, just stay goofy and bloody all the way through, then yes, I buy it, I'm with you. But
Yeah.
man,
You
it's like Rodriguez kept forgetting he was making an exploitation film send up and started going, no, I've got to actually make a real plot here. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, even his real plot fails because he turns it into almost kind of a laughable issue.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, even when the immigrants, the extras in this, they end up kind of are portrayed as kind of a joke towards the end, especially when you see the guy running into the battle with his little ice cream, his little ice cream.
I thought that was funny, man.
part.
Yeah, actually, no, you bring up a really good point because on one hand, it's trying to make a statement. It's like, and you see people fall into this trap when they don't know what they're doing, where you're trying to say something, make a statement about race, even a satire, but then it goes into exploitation where you're actually making fun of the people rather than showing how other people are wrong.
Well, they are, that is, if you're doing a film that's referential to blaxploitation films, which this most definitely is, I mean, it's mexploitation.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense because the blaxploitation films were totally like that. I think that's like, I don't have a problem with him doing it here because I was like, okay, well, obviously that's what you would do.
I mean,
if this is the type of film you want to make.
You know who I really liked in this movie, though? I really liked Jeff Fahey. He was the most intimidating villain in the movie to me. He seems to be the one. Well, he seems to a point, where they just take him out the picture. But I thought
ignoble as hell too. It was like, really, after all that time we've spent with him as a villain, you're like, that's how you want to get. All right.
Yeah,
fine.
but I really liked him, man. I thought out of all the big name villains that they had in there, I thought that he was the one that was the most effective. And I like Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin was the one who,
too.
he was so funny, man. He brought the humor that this movie needed. I mean, outside of just being, over the top ridiculous. I mean, he really was genuinely funny.
To be fair,
He
all
was
his
on
best
the highlights.
all his best parts are in the trailer, though. Too.
I know, yeah,
So.
and that's the other thing. I mean, and you know what? Really, this movie would have. I think this movie probably would have been great if it was part of the whole Grindhouse series. If it were cut down to about an hour film, I think they really, if they would have had this in place of Death Proof, and that whole Grindhouse thing, I think that whole idea would have worked because it really stuck to that premise. But when you try to expand something like that, which was what they did, it's like you could tell they kind of had to fill in the blanks with, okay, well, I guess let's put in a message here. Let's throw in some characters, and and then after a while you forget, well, who's your main character again? Machete. It's not Michelle Rodriguez. It's not Jessica Alba. and you're left wondering, where the hell is Machete? Oh, there he is. He's walking around, hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, this movie had some white people nervous. I mean, look at Cyrus. He's sweating right now. No, seriously, it was some conservative.
I'm the only white person in this room, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Cyrus was sitting there sweating, going like, "Man, these Mexicans can't edit for shit."
They really did a great job on my curtains, though.
I know. You
They're
just think
clean.
You start thinking like, man, they're so good at knives. You figure they know how to cut this movie better. But I tell you what, I bet white people gonna pay the next time they come work on their line, because there was some white people actually saying that this is the evidence of a race war right here. That they're trying to start this up. Yeah. I'm not lying. I don't want to name any names, but there's one person out there who's just like, you see right here, the evidence right here.
Just wait.
I was gonna say just wait till Glenn Beck gets a hold of it, but yeah, that'll work too.
I will say that the white people in this movie are portrayed as like just shivering, like shivering cowards,
or totally evil,
or just like dumb, just like oh god.
Yeah, that's all right.
So it's kind of a documentary when you think of it.
Hey,
you scared of Machete? Wait till Weed Whacker get a hold of you. But man, I like half of this movie. When I thought the first half was leading up to something, that's what I really enjoyed. When I thought I was going to see all these people, all these actors shine at some point, and I would realize that, oh man, these are formidable villains right here. And then I was looking forward to what this movie ended up being. But that second half really just fell apart for me. It was a mess. Robert Rodriguez fans are not going to care. I mean, they're going to get Machete. They're going to get people swinging from people's intestines and out of windows. I mean, they're going to see what they want to see, and they're going to stick with that, and they're not going to mind. So for those people, I say it's a matinee. For me, it is a high rental.
See, I like those set pieces. I thought that was the high point. The problem is almost everything else was not much fun. I mean, yeah, we like to see Danny Trejo because he's like, what, 63? You're like, man, you ain't got a lot of time left to do a big, impressive role. I've got my fingers crossed for you there, brother. But, this isn't really, it's not a good movie. It's not supposed to be one, but that doesn't excuse it from being a boring film, which is its ultimate flaw. By the end, you're just really ready for it to have ended 30 minutes before that. Surprisingly, despite the fact it sounds like I liked a lot of it more than you did, I still can only give it a high rental.
To me, this movie is really great as a trailer. And I'm not just saying that just trying to be funny, but the fact is, as a trailer in Grindhouse, it was probably my favorite part of the Grindhouse movie.
Yeah.
And just watching that trailer, imagining what that movie could be like, was so much better than what this was. And I mean, that's what it comes down to, the cheap shots, the bad effects, the CG blood, all the Austin locations. I'm like, okay, if you live in Austin, you go like, oh yeah, I know that place. If you live anywhere else, it's just like, all right. Like it's a little bit better than I expected. I thought it was about 60% successful at what it was trying to do. For me, it's just a regular old rental, which is the kind of movie it's trying to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie did blow its wad in the first 20 minutes, and I'm, coming from Rodriguez, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised at all, because that's usually what happens with his movies. He'll introduce way too many characters, and he'll try to create too many pop icons, I guess, and usually it just doesn't work. I don't think anybody's going to be dressing up as she for Halloween, but but other than that, I mean, if Machete were to actually cut this movie himself, it probably would have been a better movie. Only because, it would have been all the scenes with him in it, which is what I wanted to see. But I didn't get so much of that. It seemed like he was a side character. When the movie works, it does work. All the effects, all the gore, as cheesy as it is, I still enjoyed the hell out of it. I was even laughing at the guy in his ice cream cart. So, I mean, you know what? I did have fun watching it, but the boring parts are very boring. And, this would probably work better as a rental if you were to fast forward. But, I'm going to go ahead and give it a matinee, because honestly, I still had a fun time watching it. I had about as much fun as I had, with a movie like Piranha. So, matinee for me.
You're looking at me like I'm going to argue with you.
I know supposed to be the champion of the action heads on this film. Fuck you! It had explosions. It's awesome. It's better than sex.
He's still
my people.
Yeah, I know. He's still licking his wounds from the Expendables. He's scared now. Look at him.
I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't give this a better than sex.
I know.
Transmission fluid.
So you thought those nerds were bad. You don't want to piss off those Mexicans out there.
Yeah, I'm expecting Machete and fucking Jason Voorhees to have machetes go through my head.
And I would like to see this character. If they make a sequel, I would like to see them just take a lot of this story out and just make it about him. Give me the Machete Thanksgiving special. That food is at the table. Like, when you call the turkey, yeah, turkey wouldn't exist no more.
I took a vow of peace, and now you want me to help you kill all these men?
Yes, Padre.
I'll see what I can do.